Alright, so let's get started, Hitanu. So thanks for being with me even during the long weekend. And I know some of the kids who are missing today is primarily because they might have planned something for the long weekend with the family. Hey Sarah, where's Neil? Alright, so everybody can see the board okay, right? Yeah, okay. And here comes, okay, so let me do a quick roll call. So we have Anjani, Dave, Purvi, Ria, Sara, Saranya, Shravya, Tansi, Thanu, Vishal. Okay, let's get started. So this is probably the last class before we move on to geometry and trigonometry. Okay? So in this class we are going to deal with some of the quadratic equation or polynomial related word problems. And as we all know, right, I mean it's not going to be fairly straightforward when you guys go for the SAT exam. Many of the, almost all the concepts that you guys would know. The only thing that will come your way would be the word problems, which will require you guys to think through the problems, read it again and again, and be clear about what the question is talking about, and then you put your thoughts and understanding around things to solve it. Okay, so that's what we will try dealing with today. So what I have done is I have picked up some random problems from Khan Academy alone, so that these are shorter problems, not the problem that I have cooked up, and we will try solving those. So our approach would be the same as always. I will narrate the problem, and I would want to hear from you guys about how you would put your thoughts together for making an attempt or for solving the problem. Okay? Hey Shiv. So basically, the main approach would be I will read the question a couple of times for you guys, and then I would want to hear from you what your approach would be, and then we will try solving those problems together. Okay? So let's start with the first problem. Let me read it. And interestingly, as you guys know, when I have to read something with full concentration, I take my glasses out. So here's the question. It says, it has given a formula called h as in, it's like a function of t, which equals minus 4.9 t squared plus 8t plus 1.2. This is an equation or a function that is given, and then the description of the problem says the function above models the height h in terms of height in meters of a basketball above ground t seconds after being thrown straight up in the air. So this is the equation h of t equals minus 4 times 9t square plus 8t plus 1.2. It models an equation which says height is a function of t for the basketball which is thrown straight up in air. And after 3 seconds, this is what the height would be. Okay? What does the number 1.2 represent in the function? What does the number 1.2 represent in this function? So this is a much straighter problem than I initially thought. So I'll come to you, Praneeth. I know you are ready with the answer. Let me read the option that is there. Can you guys still see the board okay? Okay. The 4 options that are given is A, the initial height in meters of the baseball. Initial height. Okay. Option B is the maximum height in meters of the basketball. This is max height. Option C is amount of time in seconds the basketball remains airborne. So this is time. The basketball remains airborne. And the fourth option is the initial speed. In meters per second of the basketball. So somebody joined in between. So it was Neil. And yeah, it was Neil. And then Thanu also joined. Okay, I think Thanu was there before. Okay, so this question says the function here that you see h of t is equal to minus 4.9 t square plus 8t plus 1.2. This function models the height of the basketball after 3 seconds when the basketball is thrown straight up in the air. So this function will tell you what will be the height of the basketball after 1 minute, 1 second, 2 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. So the question here it says what is 1.2 representing in this equation. Now let me go one by one. Okay, Praneeth, what was your thought? I'm sorry? A as an initial height. Okay. How about you, Dave?
Oh, I thought it was initial height, sir.
Initial height. Vishal? Nancy? A as in the initial height?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody agrees? Anjani?
Initial height.
Okay. See, you guys are, as I keep saying, right? You guys are 10 times smarter than me. If I had looked at this equation, probably I would have wondered, what does it mean? So here it says, after 3 seconds, this will be the height. Okay? What I would have done, after 3 seconds, so after 1 second, when I put a 1 here in place of t, I will get the height of the basketball after 1 second. If I put 2, that means after 2 seconds, what will be the height of the basketball? If I put 0, what does it mean? When I put 0, this thing becomes 0, this thing becomes 0. Meaning, when the basketball has not been thrown up, when somebody is just holding it and getting ready to throw it, this is the initial height, 1.2. As you guys rightly said, this is the initial height. I think there is a problem with the way everybody is able to see it. Let's open the garage door. And if you feel very hot, let me open it, okay? The one at the top. Thank you. Can you guys see it better? Yeah. I was trying to make it a little better for Praneeth. It was kind of hot. So, but I think everybody can see it better, right? Okay, we'll keep it this way. Till I and Praneeth both get totally drenched. Alright? Okay. So, by looking at this problem, right, not every problem needs to be solved. And that is where my most boring concept will always help you. When you get this problem once or twice, you realize that, okay, this is not asking you to solve anything. It is just saying, okay, find out what does this 1.2 represent. If the question was, what does this 8 represent or 4.9 represent or what does t represent, the story would have been different. But here, it's pretty straightforward. That when the time is 0, meaning nothing has elapsed, meaning the ball has not been thrown up yet, you get 1.2. That means maybe the boy is as tall as me, 1.2 meter. I mean 1.2 meters is a little shorter than me, but yeah. Probably ball is just still in the hands of the player who's trying to hold it. Yeah. Anybody who is not convinced with whatever we have discussed so far? Riya, Tansi, Anjani, Sarah, Neil, Shiv. Okay. Everybody is clear. See, so the word problem that sounds like little complicated at times, it's not always as monstrous as we think, right? Would we clear with that? Tanu, no doubt?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anjani, clear? Okay. And again, as I keep saying, don't be shy. Challenge your teacher, challenge your friends, challenge your parents when it comes to knowing the concept of a problem. Okay. Don't challenge your parents for everything. But yeah, at least when it comes to the concepts, as long as we are clear, there is no point arguing about it with a right argument. Let's look at the second problem. Okay. Now you have another problem, and again, when you read this problem or look at this problem, it will not look something as friendly as you would want it to look like. This is cube, not 9, okay? Let me write this as cube by 4. So the function equation that is given to us is s equals 1000 times 1.6 to the power q by 4. Okay? I'm reading the question now. The equation above models the number of subscribers S of an online styling service Q quarter years after the service launches. Q quarter years, okay? 1 year is 12 months, okay? Q quarter years, so every quarter year is 3 months. Q quarter years will be equal to Q times, why I'm struggling to write Q times 4. Q times 3, right? This many months, okay? I'm just trying to put the understanding, because quarter years is not something that I hear very often, right? I hear month, days, years, but this is saying quarter years. Okay, so let's read that one more time. The equation above models the number of subscribers S of an online styling service Q quarter years after the service launched. So after Q quarter years, meaning this is the number of subscribers. So when you say 1 quarter year, you put a 1 here, and this is 1 by 4, and then you can derive what is the number of subscribers this guy has. After 2 quarters, meaning after 6 months, you put a 2 here, and you'll derive that. So I'm still not trying to solve it. I'm just telling you how do I interpret this or read this in layman's terms. Okay. Based on the model, which of the following statement is true? And again, we might not have to solve all this problem, okay? Let's look at this one also. It says, based on the model, which statement holds true? First one is, the number of subscribers increased by 60 each quarter year. Okay? A says, the number of subscribers increased by 60 increase each quarter year. Each quarter year. Okay? That is the first option. Second one is number of subscribers increase by each year. The second one is number of subscribers increase each year. Each year. Option C is number of subscribers increase by 6% each quarter year. Number of subscribers increase 6% each quarter year. And option D is number of subscribers increase by 6% each year. 6% each year. Okay? So these are the 4 options we are given. Looking at this equation, it says number of subscribers after Q quarter years is represented by this. And from that we are trying to derive what does it mean? What does this equation mean to us? And we are given 4 options. That, okay, 60 subscribers increase every quarter year. Number of subscribers, second one is, okay, I somehow have hidden that answer. Let me do one thing. Let me look at the problem one more time. By 60 each year. Okay. This one is subscribers increase by 60 each year. Okay. So this says 60 subscribers are increasing every quarter year. This one says number of subscribers increase by 60 each year. Third option is increase by 6% each year, and number 4 is each quarter year. And second, fourth option is 6% subscribers increase every year. Now by looking at this problem, let me read this one more time, and Dave, I know you are ready. This is the model that is given, which says this is number of subscribers depending on this function, and Q represents the number of quarter years. And there are 4 options given. First is every quarter 60 increase, every year 60 increase, every quarter 6% increase, every year 6% increase. Which option you are leaning towards? So Dave, you can tell me the answer first, and then once I hear few more answers, then I will ask you to tell me what is your approach or thought process behind the answer that you have given. Yes, Dave.
Okay. I'm set C. They increase it 6% every.
Okay, this is your answer. I'll come to you, beta, just to understand what is your thought process behind that. Praneet, or anybody in the class. You also think C? Okay, C got 2 votes. Anybody else? Tanu, Purvi, Ria, Tansi?
I got C.
You also got C. Okay.
I also
You also got C. So many good friends. Let's see. You also got C. Okay. Everybody is kind of standing against me now, right now. That's what I feel like. You guys are ganging up together to take your teacher head on. Let's see. Anybody else? Riya, Vishal, Shravya, Sanya. Everybody heard the question, right? Yes, sir. Yes, Sanya. Go ahead, beta.
I also got C.
You also got C. Okay. See, you guys are trying to put me aside as a group. Okay. But I'll make sure that I am staying strong, okay? Alright. Alright, so let me read this question one more time. Okay? And then we will see. So Praneet, here. This question says this is the model. And Q stands for number of quarter years. Yeah? And says number of subscribers after this many quarter years. Okay. After 1 quarter year will be 1 by 4. 1.6 to the power 1 by 4. So here 60 increase each quarter, that doesn't sound reasonably correct. Because 60 each quarter, who's telling me 60,000 times what is 1,000 times what will be 60? That it will be less than 0.1, right? 0.06. 0.06 increase, meaning between Q1 and Q2 it will be 60. That looks pretty far-sighted to me. I mean, I'm not leaning on that option. I mean, it's not convincing enough. Similarly, it says number of subscribers increase 60 by each year. I'm still not convinced. Now, you guys are doing a lot of calculation, which I don't like. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't like calculation, but I prefer not to do calculation unless that is my only option. Now, when you look at this problem, do you want to solve this problem in a complicated way or simple way? Simple way, right? What would you try to solve? I have 1000 into 1.06 to the power Q by 4. If I take 1, I'm talking about 1 quarter year. Yeah? Can somebody tell me how do I find out the value of 1.06 to the power 1 by 4 very quickly? Not easy, right? I mean, it doesn't sound so very easy. What makes my life easy? If I put a 4 here. 4 quarters. If I look at 4 quarters together, that is 1 year. That makes it power 1. that makes it 1.06 or 6% increase. So when I have 4 quarters, this becomes 1.06 or 6% extra, 6% of 1000. So when I put, now let's look at, again I'm doing mind maths only, okay, I'm not doing any calculation. Look at this. So when I'm dealing in 4 quarters together, that is when I'm not dealing with rational powers, right? Or rational exponent basically. So if I'm dealing with, let's say, 4 quarters, if I'm talking about after 4 quarter years, I'm talking about 1000, 1.06, 4 to the power 4, which becomes 1. Now if I increase it by 4 more quarters, meaning I'm going to 1 complete year, meaning I'm talking about 8 quarter years. What does it become? 1000 into 1.06, 8 by 4, which is 2. What do you see here? After 4 quarters, it was 1000 into 1.06. After 8 quarters, it became 1000 into 1.06 into 1.06. That is how it became 1.06 square, right? Oh, sorry. Yeah. So after every 4 quarters, it is becoming 1.06 or increasing by 6%. After every 4 quarter years, what we heard, what we leaned on was 6% each quarter year. But what we are seeing here, it's increasing by 6% each year, not quarter year. So that's why I was decoding that when you say quarter year, you are essentially talking about quarter of an year. 3 months. So C cannot be our answer. It has to be D. Because that is when you are seeing that every 4 quarter years, this power is changing from 1 to 2. Meaning it's getting multiplied by 1.06 or it is increasing by 6%. So that's why I was jokingly saying that everybody is ganging up against me, because this was my understanding of the answer. I'm not very good at solving or deriving the actual value when I have power. When I'm dealing with rational exponents, I have to break it down to something simpler that I can digest easily. Does it make sense to everybody? And I'm sorry for proving everybody wrong, but it was more about what has to go in our mind, and that is when, I'm sorry for going to the same thing again and again. This A was actually making me think of simplifying it, because power 1 by 4 or power 2 by 4, power 3 by 4 is much more complicated than power 1, power 2, power 3, power 4. Is everybody okay with whatever I explained? Yeah? So again, it's not about what I'm saying is right, it's about how you make this problem simpler, easier for yourself. That would be our goal, that would remain our goal. And I have zero doubt when it comes to saying that you are all very clear about the concepts. Take example of Praneeth. He's been dealing with me, tolerating me for last more than a year now. And he would have heard all these concepts from me so many times. So now, when you go through one iteration of learning, then when we go to do the second iteration, I have heard kids saying, okay, no, I have already learned everything that I need to learn. Trust me, there is nothing called learn. Even after me being this old, I will not say my age one more time, but I am saying, I could go wrong if I am not doing enough practice. Okay? So when every class that I get into, I make sure that I look at some problems, I try solving it myself, and then I try simplifying this for you guys. Okay? I would not want to repeat myself. It's not like me recording myself for a class and then just playing the play button, right? It's about we getting into the grooves of the math and then trying to make sure that we have an approach in mind. Vishal, you are very quiet today. Is this sounding okay, or So Vishal is another victim of mine who has been with me for quite some time now, apart from Pranit.
I wasn't.
I'm sorry, Vita?
I went outside. Like, no, I just went outside my room, so
Okay.
I wasn't here.
No worries. No worries, but I was just asking, I just try to make sure that whatever I explain, that is making perfect sense to you guys. Yeah? So not every class we learn new things, but we practice enough to make sure that whatever we have learned, we are able to apply it well. Okay? Alright, are we ready to look at the next problem? Okay, let's look at the next one. Let's see what the next one says. And interestingly, when I was taking a picture of the problem, right, from my phone, I have not taken a very good picture sometimes, at times, okay? So sometimes the answers are hidden, even I'm not able to read what was the option given, okay? The next problem is P of x equals x minus 0.95 times 500 minus 100x. P of x equals x minus 0.95 times 500 minus 100x. Okay? Now the equation models P, the daily profit in dollars. P is daily profit in dollars. A food truck makes by selling their signature tacos at a price of X dollars each. This is the unit price of the taco. Okay. So this model says that the total price profit made daily is a function of what you see here, where X is the price of each taco. What is the daily profit if the tacos are sold at $3 each? If the tacos are sold at $3 each, what is the daily profit? And the options you have are $410, $600, $820, and $2460. So this model says that this is the daily profit, which is a function of X, and this is the relationship. So it says and X is the price of each taco. If the price of the taco is $3 each, what is the daily profit we are talking about? And some of you will have question in your mind that, okay, how is it related to quadratic equation or polynomials? We'll come to that. But for now, let's try finding out the answer, and then once we brainstorm this, we will try relating what we need to. Everybody heard the question, right? Did everybody hear the question? Okay. Riya, Purvi, Chanu, Saranya, Shravya, everybody, right? Okay. Kansi? Okay. Alright. I'll let you guys enjoy your good time with this problem for next 2-3 minutes before I start talking.
Can you do the question in one hand?
Okay. So this equation that you see on the board, P of x equals x minus 0.95 times 500 minus 100x. This models the daily profit of a food truck which sells tacos. The daily profit is derived by this equation, where x is the price of each taco. Okay, I got one answer. So you heard the question, right, Vishal? Okay, I got an answer A. Now, I am twisting the question a little bit. I am pretty sure that most of you will get the answer right. It's no big deal by doing the fair calculation. I would be interested in hearing how you are making it simplified enough to do it faster. So let me get few more answers from the group, and then I would want to hear what did you do to simplify this whole calculation. Sarah, Neil, you guys got the question right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see. Yes, Shiv.
Sir, I think it's A. I got A, but I'm not sure what it is, but I think it's A.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm recording your answer as A, but never ever tell me that I'm not sure, because math is the only subject on this earth where we are not supposed to have doubt. I mean, while everybody else is trying to solve it, I would suggest you look at how did you arrive at A and what story you can build around that. Okay? I would want to hear that. Yeah, Vishal.
Three the taco price.
I'm sorry?
When you put $3, what do you mean by the $3?
$3 per taco. So see, your daily profit is a function of the price of the taco, and this is the relationship.
Okay.
Wait, sir, can you repeat what the equations are? Because I'm a little confused.
Okay, so this is a function p of x equals x minus 0.95 times 500 minus 100x, where x is the price of each taco. So this function models the profit, the daily profit of a food truck, where x is the price of each taco. So we are told that if the price of the taco is $3 each, what is the daily profit that we are talking about? Did you hear the question, beta?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Saranya, Shravya, Purvi, yep, Yanil, go ahead.
I think it's A.
You think it's A? Shiv, are you wanting to change your answer?
Sir, I think it's A.
You think it's A? Okay.
Kind of,
I'll tell you when to explain, okay? I am really interested in hearing that story, but I don't want you to tell that now. Otherwise, everybody else will or might get biased, okay? Let's see what Dev says. Yeah, Dev.
I got A.
You also got A. Okay. So, as I said, I'm not interested in the answer alone. This time, I'm wanting to hear who is making this whole calculation simple enough, okay? Because if you are making it simple, then doing the calculation, your chances of right is more, or your chances of being right is more or better. Okay? Tansi? Yes, Vishal.
Whenever I plug in 3, I got like, I keep on getting 490.
We'll see. Maybe that's why I'm giving the clue that you guys have to look at simplifying it. If I have written the answer wrong, that also will get sorted out. Yeah, Tansi. Tanu, sorry.
I got
You also got A. That statement I like. When somebody says, I got A, and I'm sure the answer is A, that's what reflects the confidence, okay? I want you guys to say it with confidence, be it right or wrong, okay?
I got A, sir.
You also got A? I like it. Okay. Now, I'm assuming that answer is A, okay? Many of you have given A. Most of you, I mean not most of you, all of you. So, now can somebody tell me what did you do to make it simple? Yeah, Pranay.
So since seeing that the unit price is 3, I could easily see that D and C are like way too high numbers to be like your profit based off of like it X being 3. So it left me with A and B. So then with I plugged in 3 to find out like the second value is 200 in the parentheses, and to get D you need a 3 at least to make it 600. But seeing that you already take 3 and subtract from it, you can't have a 600, so it's left in the 4.
Okay. I heard one story. Let's see who else wants to explain that to me. What did you do to nail it down to A as an option in the simplest possible way? Yes, Shiv.
Sir, so when I started, so it was Px equals x minus 0.95 x and turned it into 3 from the information in the question. So x becomes 3 minus 0.95 multiplied by 500 minus 300. So 3 minus 0.95 is 2.05. So 2.05 multiplied by 200. So 2.05 multiplied by 200 is equal to 410.
Okay.
So px would be equal to 410.
Okay. Yeah, Vishal. Now tell me, why did you get 490?
Wait, was that a 0.55 or a 0.95?
0.95.
Wow, from what I thought it was 0.55.
Right. So,
That's
so,
why I did wrong.
okay. So here, see, look at, this problem has no intelligence in it, okay? So, that's why none of you went wrong. Some of you told that confidently, some of you did not describe that in the beginning, but trust me, this problem has no weight. Now, that's why I was saying that when you look at this kind of a problem, and it's like you are trying to evaluate, it's like a function that you have to evaluate for a value of 3. That's how simple it is. And this was part of the quadratic equation, because when you kind of explode these two, break open the brackets, it will become a quadratic equation. But we don't really have to deal with this like a quadratic equation unless you have enough time that you want to spend in the exam. But the approach here is simple, right? When you are putting 3 in place of x, meaning the price of each taco is $3, as soon as you put that here, this whole thing becomes 500 minus 100 into 3, which is 300. So 500 minus 300 is 200. Now you're talking about 200 as one of the factor, and then you have here 3 minus 0.95. This is going to be very close to 2. 2 times 200 can never give you 300, 600, never give you 820, never give you this. So you can do that calculation in your mind. Okay, when I put a 3 here, this is 200, 200 and 3 minus almost 1. So like 2. 2 into 200 is never going to give me 600, 800 or 2400. So you will immediately strike it off. This is one way of looking at it. Second option is, you will say to find. Here I have x minus something, so x minus 0.95. And here I have 500 into 100x. Okay, let me do one thing. 100 is common, take it out. 5 minus x. It's a little simplified version. So you can say, okay, fine, this is 3 minus almost 1, and this is 5 minus 3. So this is 2, that is 4 times this. So these are all part of my most boring, most horrendous, most terrifying concept, where this stage decides whether you will be right or wrong with whatever problem you are trying to solve. So that's why I am emphasizing always, and I'll keep on doing that, because I have very strong belief that when we are trying to solve a problem, this is the easiest step. I remember when I started my career as a software engineer, okay? That was like 25 years ago. And one of my managers told me, software engineer's job is very easy. That's the simplest of the job. And I used to wonder, how come? The software engineer writes all the technical code, writes all the logic and everything. But then I realized that, not at that point in time, now I'm realizing it, that okay, writing the code is the last step. When you have put your entire blueprint, when you have decided your logic, when you have decided what are the rules that you're going to develop, and somebody else has done that. So that's what I'm trying to mimic in the whole approach also, where I'm seeing a lot of relevance here. This is software engineer's job. I'm not disregarding the job of software engineer. What I'm saying is, just writing the code or doing the final execution is the easiest part of our life. Okay? If you know what exactly you are going to build, what you're going to solve, and if you have put enough thoughts around it, how you're going to do it, then this is the easiest thing. If you jump onto this one straight away, that is when you'll think like me, being a software engineer, saying, okay, fine, I'm doing the heavy lifting, I'm doing everything. But actually, that is the easiest thing. That's why nowadays, if you look at the IT industry, whoever has any interest in computer science or anything, you would know that there are a lot of tools that is developed which writes the code for you. You don't have to write the code. So software engineer's job is becoming more and more redundant because that doesn't need a lot of intelligence. That is the development part. That is the Nike part. That is the just do it part. So don't emphasize on this. Emphasize on these two. Even if you don't like me as a teacher, trust me, it helps. Yeah. Is everybody with me? Anjani, clear beta? I think you got dropped off for a couple of minutes and then you joined back. But I'm hoping that everybody is clear. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Tanu, Purvi, Saranya, Shravya, is everybody with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ria, you have been very quiet today. All good?
Yeah, I just don't have it.
Okay. No. So I mean, see again, I'm just asking just to make sure that I'm not assuming by myself that I do wonderful as a teacher. No, I never do wonderful as a teacher. I can do better if I see that all my kids are able to follow whatever I'm explaining. Okay? Let's move on. Let's go to one last problem. This says the equation models the height h in feet above the water for a cable in a suspension bridge. So this is a suspension bridge. Okay. So here you have water. Look at my drawing skills. The equation models the height h in feet above the water for a cable in a suspension bridge at a horizontal distance x. So let's say this is here. I mean, you're looking at the bridge in between these two endpoints. Let's say you're counting from here. So it says this represents the height of the cable above water. So this is water, this is height. So this equation, let me write it. H equals 0.002 times x minus 1955, this whole thing is square, plus 100. Now you have the equation also where this h represents the height of the cable above the water at a horizontal distance x. So here, if you are counting from here, after this distance x, this is the height. Let's say if the distance changes to this is the height. This is what it says. Maybe I have not drawn it correctly, but I'm just trying to picturize this. So this is an equation that defines it. How many feet above the water is the lowest point on the cable? Now it says how many feet above the water is the lowest point. So now you can look at this. This cable is probably like an arc, where this could be the lowest point. It says how many feet above the water is the lowest point on the cable. So you are given this equation and then the story that I was talking about, that this equation defines the height of the cable above the water at a horizontal distance of x. So it says what is the lowest point? How many feet above the water is the lowest point on the cable? Now this one doesn't need much of a calculation. It just needs a thoughtful evaluation of the question. Let's see who all thinks more, solves less for this problem. Okay? I'm not trying to generalize it. Did everybody hear the question? Yeah. So this equation models the height of the cable above the water level, okay, for the suspension bridge, where this height is a function of x, where x is the horizontal distance. So basically, if you are counting from here after x, this is the height. When you substitute this value of x here, it will tell you what is the height at this point. So it says find out the lowest height of the water cable above the water level. How many feet above the water is the lowest point on the cable? Trust me, this is a very interesting problem, okay? Yeah, Dev.
Oh, would it be 0?
Let me read the question again. H equals 0.002 times x minus 1955 square plus 100. So this 100 is outside this one. Just for this.
Sorry.
You want to say 100 or what is the answer?
100.
Okay. And I'll come to you there just to understand what went in your mind to arrive at 100, okay? Let me see what answer I'm getting from everybody else. What is the lowest point? And this is more of a riddle, okay, than a problem. Yeah, Vishal.
100.
100, and this is in feet, so you'll say 100 feet. Okay? Let's see what Shiv says.
Sir, still couldn't get the question. Could you repeat it one more time?
Okay, so this is the equation that is given to us. H equals 0.002 times x minus 1955 square plus 100. And this H represents the height of the water table in the suspension bridge. This is a suspension bridge. Okay? This height is the height of the cable above the water level. So let's say water is up to here. Okay? It is not overflowing above the bridge. It's below the bridge. That's my assumption for now, based on whatever I read. So it says after a horizontal distance x, if you put the value of x here, it will get you the height of the cable above the water level. So this equation represents that. So we have been asked to find out what is the lowest point on this water cable and what is the height of that. 100, okay. Did you get the question, Shiv?
Still
I'm sorry? Did you get the question, I'm saying?
no.
You could not hear the question?
No, I can't. I'm fine. I'm learning very quickly.
Okay. So now you're not waiting for me, right?
No.
No. Okay.
Sir, does that say 1,900?
One more time, better.
I said, where it says x minus 1,000, does that say 1,950?
1955. Yeah.
Okay.
So Mandeep, you have joined 9 minutes early. So let me finish this class, then we'll start your class, okay? You can join after 9 minutes. Okay, so now Dev, Praneeth, okay, let's start with Dev. Dev, can you tell me your story? How did you arrive at 100?
The way I remember is first I just looked at the equation of the problem, and I see that we have a square, which automatically tells me this is a parabola. And I know for parabolas, if I look at the p-value, I'll get the lowest point, because it tells us how high or low it goes. And you can see it says plus 100 for the p-value, so I said it's 100.
Okay, that's a very loaded answer. But yeah, pretty much point blank. Yes.
So I just what if I could make the 0.002 minus n and
Okay. Vishal, any quick story that you can tell me? How did you arrive at 100?
So like, I just know that it can't be very low. So like I just know that it's like 100.
Okay. Now let me give you guys a different approach altogether, and it will pretty much align with the way you guys have done it. My answer is not going to be different. 100 is the right answer, but let me kind of look at it with very basic concepts. Okay, let me forget about all this. Now you look at it. Look at this whole thing. I have read the question enough, much more than any of you, right? I read it so many times. I'm doing the analysis right now. When I look at this, x is the distance, horizontal distance. So x can keep on increasing, and if x keeps on increasing, this difference will increase, and accordingly this value will also change. But now whether x is 1 or whether x is 5000, okay, whatever be the case, if as a sum of these two, x minus 1955, whether I am getting a 2 or whether I am getting a minus 600, square of this whole thing, is always going to be a positive thing. It's always going to be a positive, meaning 100 plus something. That's what it's going to be. Right? This whole thing, x minus 1955, whether it's negative or positive, doesn't matter. My outcome of this square is always going to be positive. Are you guys with me? What I'm saying is this whole term, x minus 1955 that you see, which is the biggest contributor or the only variable element of this whole calculation, right? This only is going to change, meaning when x increases, this difference increases. Even if x is 0, this whole value, even at this point, this whole value is going to be negative, but the square of a negative is always positive. So that means my first term of this equation is never going to be negative. Yeah? Meaning it's not going to be less than 100 for sure. It will be 100 plus something. Yeah? Am I making sense or not? No? Okay. Let me make it simple. See, our equation is x minus 1955 square plus 100. Okay? This 100 is a constant, it's not going to change. Now, if this whole thing is more, cable is higher, getting higher and higher. Yeah? But by looking at this whole thing, you see that x minus 1955, that determines how much more than 100, right? And this whole thing is a square, meaning x minus 1955. Let's say if I get x minus 1955 as 20, and I get x minus 1955 as minus 30. How many is going to do a square of that? And the square of b, the square of 20 or b square, let's pick same number. Okay? B the square of 30 or b the square of minus 30, both is going to give me 900. So what I am trying to say here is, just by reading of this question, I am seeing that this whole value can never be negative, meaning it cannot reduce from 100. It will be 100 plus something. But meaning this whole thing is going to be positive. Only one circumstance, when x minus 1955 is equal to 0, then square of 0 will be 0, and 0 into this thing will be 0 only. So that is the only time when it will be just 100. Otherwise, for every other scenario, it will be 100 plus something. So that is why my lowest height is going to be 100. So again, when I was looking at this equation, right, this problem, the way I would read it is, okay, 100 plus something. This is a constant. This will not change till my lifetime. 100 will never 100. So we have been asked to find out what is the lowest height. Meaning the lowest height is determined by this part. And this part has two parts. This is again a constant. This is not going to change. Only this thing would change. But this thing would, if this becomes negative, then only this is going to go below 100. But this will never become negative because it's a square. A square of positive or negative is always a positive. So the only circumstance when this is the lowest height is when this whole term is equal to 0. Meaning this whole thing is equal to 0. That's the only time where it will be the least height. Meaning otherwise, see, I when I was drawing the table, the bridge, I drew it like this. But you would have never seen a cable bridge like this. Where it's it will be pretty much like this. Okay, a little bit of slackness. That's it. Otherwise, people like me who are scared of the heights, they will not go on to this bridge. Yeah. So, what is the interpretation from this thing? What is that is making you, that made us think that when you look at a problem like this, you have to always think about what kind of a solution is being looked at. Or do we have to solve it? Do we have to think about it? What is the question? How do I take it forward? So, this is where, when I was looking at this whole problem, I thought, okay, fine, this is positive. The only thing by which I can make it the least is by making this whole term 0. And that can happen. When this term becomes 0, my least height above the water level is 100. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? Okay. Then, if that is making sense, I'll let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Talk to you tomorrow. Alright? Alright. Bye-bye.